Good evening, Facebook. I'm meteorologist Zach Covey with your short-range forecast for the evening of Friday, December 24th through the morning hours of Monday, December 27th for the Hampton Roads and Northeast North Carolina region. I'll be covering your hazardous weather outlook, so let's begin. Now, because we're nearing the 24-hour mark of this winter storm for Christmas weekend, I'm going to be a little more in depth here. We're going to take a look at both GFS model runs, the 12Z and the 18Z, and we'll do a slight comparison. We'll also talk just a minor bit about other model runs, and we'll go into your hazardous weather outlook with the current watches and warnings. We'll do a breakdown of accumulations for each area, the peninsula, south side, and northeast North Carolina. We'll also cover the winds, both inland and coastal, along with the marine outlook. We'll then go into your snowfall map that the National Weather Service has put out. I'll put in my 2 cents as I think that map is a little bit flawed. I didn't have enough time to make my own map, but we'll go in and I'll throw in my 2 cents. I'll kind of show you exactly where I think this snowfall will fall. And then we'll see some travel conditions for Saturday. And then finally we'll end on Santa's arrival forecast for the Hampton Roads and Northeast North Carolina region. Let's begin with the 18Z model, the 12Z model of the GFS. This is the 12Z. This was earlier today. Now, a lot of people wanted to disregard this model. Last night at the 00Z model, it had shifted west, and we saw that. It was very evident. We saw the dark blues finally reaching our region. Well, at the 12Z model, you can see right here that green has finally reached our region, right there. So a lot of people were all hyped up about this. But a lot of people also said we shouldn't pay attention to this model because it's flawed. Why is it flawed? Well, if we went back to the start of this model, we're holding at the 54-hour mark. If we went back to the start of this model, it had the low pressure about 200 miles north and east of its current position. So it was already flawed at the initialization start. So a lot of people said, well, this is crap, it's already flawed, we can't do anything. So, they threw this out. Well, we go into the 18Z model, and something has changed. If I go back, you can see, just look at the low pressure for me. Look right here when we go into it. Look where the low is, whether it shifts more westerly or more easterly. So just watch this as I go in. Notice how it shifts westerly, south and west. That's because, first off, we're at the 48-hour mark, so it's a little further south than we are because it's a little closer. So that's kind of expected. But it's also a lot more west, and that's evident by all this green. So now that we've had 2 consistent model runs saying the same thing, and with the 00Z hinting at it, not showing it, but it was hinting that this could happen, now we come down to the decision. We've had one model hinting it, and then the following 2 models after its hints, it's done it. They disregarded the 00Z's initialization, but they went with the model, but they disregarded where it initialized. Then the 12Z initialized wrong, and they said, let's just get rid of it altogether. And then the 18Z, it initialized correctly, but it's showing this. So now a lot of people are concerned, did it initialize correctly at the 00Z and the 12Z, and we just disregarded both models, and now this is actually turning out to be the most likely scenario? Or is this going to be a little twist thrown in? There's a lot of things that could happen with this, but right now the GFS is coming back, and it's turning into more like the European model just a few days ago. Not as much snow, but it's definitely looking like the European was a few days ago. And even though we're 24 hours out, and a lot of people look at me saying, you're 24 hours out, you should know what's going on. Really, the GFS has taken a turn for the worst if you hate snow, but a turn for the better if you love snow. Still, this model is not perfect, and I really want to see what the 00Z says, and we'll be less than 24 hours out then. So when the next model comes out, I'm going to take a look at it. If it continues to have an initialization error, I don't know if I should throw it out or not, but if it continues to show this heavier precip moving in, 10 to 15, as you can see by the, what do you want to call it, the, I forget, the legend. 10 to 15 by the legend, that's it. That's a lot of stuff, and if we did a 10-to-1 ratio, we could see anywhere from 6 to 12 inches there. So, I don't know. We've got to pay attention, guys. We got to pay attention, but this is a very possible scenario here, so I'm not ruling this out. Very possible scenario. We move in. The winter storm has now been moved to a high risk. I'm moving this to an 80% chance. Last night I moved it to a 70. It is now an 80% chance of a winter storm. We go into the latest weather alerts. We've got hazardous weather outlooks for all of these regions in this tan color, and in this darker, lighter blue, I don't know what color you want to call this, but all these darker blue colors are winter storm watches, and they're in effect all the way up to the North Carolina-Virginia border because Wakefield does not have control of what's below the Virginia border. That goes to the National Weather Service in North Carolina. North Carolina has issued winter storm watches there, and it's very possible we could see Wakefield issuing some winter storm watches for the south side. Not quite sure about the peninsula right now or the eastern shore, but definitely for the south side areas of Chesapeake, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Suffolk, Isle of Wight County, you guys could see a winter storm watch in the next 12 hours. Now we're gonna... Whoa, voice crack there. That's because I've been talking so much. We're gonna get right into the accumulation amounts for the peninsula. I'm going with a high risk and 80% chance of a dusting to an inch, a 60% chance for 1 to 3 inches, and a 50% chance for 3 to 6 accumulations for the south side, a 90% chance for dusting to an inch, a 60% chance for 1 to 3, and a 70% chance for 1 to 3, and a 60% chance for 3 to 6 for the south side. Accumulation amounts for northeast North Carolina, a 100% for dusting to an inch, a 80% for 1 to 3, and a 60% for 3 to 6. We could be seeing the snowfall 3 to 6 move up in the categories as we go into the next few hours. Of course, I really want to see what that 00Z GFS has to say. As for the inland strong winds, we're staying at a 30% chance for 25 mile per hour winds. We're staying at a 60% chance now for 25 mile per hour winds for coastal strong winds. And for the mariners, we have a 90% chance for rough seas and a 30% chance for both beach erosion and coastal flooding, although I may be bringing down the coastal flooding to a 20% chance in the next hour, as the winds aren't expected to be onshore as much as we were expecting earlier. We go into the snowfall amounts. Now this is where I really am getting a little concerned. You can see the National Weather Service in Wakefield has been working alongside with the National Weather Service in North Carolina. North Carolina has some really high amounts. Elizabeth City seeing 2.5, even 3 inches of snow. Southside Virginia Beach, you could see 2 to 3 or 2.3 inches, 1.7 in areas of Isle of Wight County, Southside. But as we go into the peninsula, we could see anywhere from an inch to 2 inches. Now that's where I think it's flawed, because as soon as you reach Williamsburg, you aren't expected to see much, maybe a dusting at the most. I think these models are a bit flawed. This was updated earlier this morning, so this has not been updated since this morning. So I'm going to kind of say I'm not sure about this right now, but I think the totals may shift northward. So what you see in North Carolina may be what you see on the south side. What you see on the south side may be what you see on the peninsula. Right now, this is what I'm going with. I'm going with the peninsula. You guys could see anywhere from 1 to 4 inches. That goes for the south side as well. Portions of southeastern and southeastern Virginia Beach and southwestern counties, or portions of Norfolk and Chesapeake, you guys could see anywhere from 2 to 6 inches, and that would extend all the way down into Elizabeth City, Hosky, Camden County. You guys could see 2 to 4 inches. And then as we go past Elizabeth City, south of Elizabeth City, you guys are back in the 1 to 4 inch range before you reach basically the Outer Banks, where that's going to be a rain-snow mix. So 1 to 4 inches is what I'm going with for the peninsula, eastern shore. 2 to 6 inches for southeastern portions of Virginia Beach and southwestern portions of Chesapeake, all the way down into North Carolina. to Elizabeth City, and then south of Elizabeth City, anywhere from 1 to 4 inches before you reach the Outer Banks, where that would be less than an inch, mainly due to rain snowfall. Saturday morning, your travel conditions looks alright. Charlotte, we may have a slight chance of a delay with that system starting to push in. DC, you guys should be fine. Everywhere in the Northeast should be fine. Until we get into the evening hours, that's when the system starts to push in. We're expecting it to push in around 5 p.m. You could start to see some scattered snow showers in our area, which would mean Washington, D.C., you guys could have a chance of a few delays. Atlanta, Charlotte, you guys could. New Orleans, we've got you in the medium impact. We may lower that to a low impact as the storm's pushing out. Orlando, we may move you up to a medium. It depends how strong you may get any rain or snow, or rain, excuse me. You guys won't see snow, but if we would see rain in Orlando, just be alert. Check with your carriers if you guys are flying tomorrow. If you're driving, please be careful on the roadways. VDOT and NCDOT both urge drivers to stay off the roadways if possible during the evening commute on Saturday through the day on Sunday. Santa Claus is out and working. For the arrival forecast here, we could see clear and cold conditions with a low of 24 degrees tonight. And just to show you what I mean, let me show you the latest on Santa and where he currently is. And here you go, you've got a view of Santa Claus and his reindeer, Rudolph leading the pack. Currently delivered over 1 million gifts. In fact, it's over 1 billion gifts he's delivered. His next stop will be to South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands, and he'll be arriving in about 26 minutes. So you guys in South Sandwich Islands region and in South Georgia, be sure to be getting your butts to sleep because Santa Claus is on his way. We'll be expecting him to arrive at the East Coast around 2 a.m. this morning. For Facebook, I'm meteorologist Zach Covey, and we hope you guys have a great Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas.